So let me get this recording. I think we're live. We're going to roll with it and
All
assume
right.
we are live. I'm going to scroll back over to my feed over here, but welcome, everybody. I'm so excited. If you're watching the replay, let us know. If you're watching live, let us know. I'm going to try to follow both screens a little bit, but I might get on my phone and see if any questions pop up. But thank you for being here, Jay. I'll introduce you in just one second, but I actually met Jay through a networking group and just connecting with people. I talk about connections are huge. We're in different industries, we do different things, but when you can really start to be around like-minded people, you start to grow. And Jay is someone I've really got to learn from, just watching his serving energy and what he does in the community that we live in. And I actually don't know a lot. I told Jay I didn't really want to know anything. I wanted to just wing it and learn with everybody else too, because I feel like that's where the best questions and stuff come about. So, Jay, who are you?
All right. So I'm Jay Hymas. I'm born in Logan, the CEO of Clear Recovery of Cache Valley. I can tell
Awesome.
you more.
Yeah, nope, that's perfect. So, kind of tell us about what you do at Clear Recovery.
So I like to be on the level with the clients. I like to stay in groups and client interaction, talking to them in the halls, helping them understand, maybe what they're going through. They're not alone kind of thing. Also do a lot of marketing outreach, in the community, just trying to network with people and let them know they're not alone and they don't need to be ashamed of the path that they've been down.
I love that. And I think that's my favorite thing about you is how connected you are in the community, from all the way to the people that may feel really worthless to the people that feel like they've made it. And you know how to connect with everybody and your heart just shines everywhere. So thank you for being you.
Yeah.
And kind of talk to us a little bit about what got you into this.
All right. So I lived a life on the streets and, just wanting to help other people. I seen a lot of poverty. I seen a lot of people and, high end people, every walk of life. And, I think that it was kind of my destiny, I think is what got me there. One thing led to the other. And before I was just climbing that ladder and believing in myself. I think a lot of belief really got me there and manifesting and asking the questions, like I've expressed, it all started with a little question: what could I be? What would I be if I could change? And that was a huge turning point. Like I never forget that. In fact, I ask myself that quite often still. What could change? What would it look like? What would I be? Where would it take me? What door might open?
And how long was your struggle that you had to where you are now?
So I was born into addiction. My parents were addicted. My grandparents were alcoholics. I struggled pretty much my whole life. I always felt a little bit different. I was always kind of the poor kid in school, the, kind of shy kid. At times outraged and rambunctious in school. And then I started my addiction really young, and I was addicted to everything. By the time it was 22 years total is what I figure, from the time I started using to the time I stopped.
And when you, because we can talk about it and we can talk about this journey and we can talk it, and I'm sure there's so many stories in between it there, and heartaches and lives that are broken and people that you've seen die, and all of the heartaches around that. But the transition, how was that transition of shifting? What was that first step for you?
It was a lot of uncomfortability, to be honest. I first step was, like I said, that little bit of belief, and then shifting from I guess kind of the people's vibration, right? You're down on the bottom, kind of feel like you're on the bottom, and then you start just kind of hanging with different people who may not be doing that kind of stuff, kind of leveling up, if you will. And it's, I'm really big in that. And of course, I don't shame anyone, or I don't feel like I'm better than anyone, but I feel like it's really important to kind of put that self-worth piece, and what it felt like was very uncomfortable. Started working with all these people who have master's degrees and all these, top end people and a lot of other people in the community. That's very uncomfortable for me. And at times it still is.
Yeah, and I was gonna say you've probably taken that and still utilize that in your life is what I hear. And I always say that to him, like I always try to be the loser in the crowd. I'm like, if I can be like that lower end of the crowd, then I have to be going somewhere. But also showing people, and I hate to put things on levels, but it's easy to see, like showing people that are maybe below me or don't know what I know, but want what I have, like being able to help people along the way. It's called the law of the freeway. You follow the car in front of you, but you're paving the path for the cars behind you and really helping people uplift. And that's what I love about the journey of hardships, right?
Yeah, that's on point. I really love that you said that because it's true. You don't want to feel like you're better than anyone. You don't want to make anyone feel, but just like carving that path. Carving a path. One of my wife's good friends told us, you're carving a path through the snow, deep as ever, for others to follow. And that was in my early days, and putting into perspective, right? You're shoveling the way, right? Carving the highway, like you just said. I love that. Yeah.
So my question, I'm sure everybody has this question too. When you asked yourself that question, what if I think you said if I could change anything, what would it be? What was the answer?
So that question kind of rang through my head quite a few times, and ultimately I just wanted to help people. Like, that was it. I just want to help people in a different way. I don't want to help them in the crappy ways of life on the streets. I don't want to lend them my tent. I don't. I want to help people in a very meaningful way. That was what the answer that kept coming to me. I just want to help people. I thought, do I need to go to like psychology school? Do I need to go, because I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of people at this point, and I just, that's what it was. I just wanted to help people.
And now that you're on the other side of that and you are helping other people with addictions, and I don't even know everything you help people with, but maybe answer that and then I can.
Yeah, we do everything from like basic substance use education courses all the way through DV, through Prime for Life, which is a DUI education course. We do a lot of I do a lot of just talking to people, I guess, intervention. It's not your typical intervention where they come with the TV and your family and everything. It's more oftentimes a private thing. And so I do a lot of that. We do a lot of that. And we help people find their way and what fits for them, what works best for them, because knowing that clear recovery may not always be it, which is fine. But also we do substance use, and domestic violence is hugely on the rise in our community. That's a real scary thing. And same with substance abuse. They said that COVID has affected so many people, and it's on the rise. Death rate for overdose is 30%, gone up 30% this year.
Ugh.
That's scary, and the statistics, there are statistics. So, we all know what that looks like, but it's just kind of a roundabout in the ballpark area, which is, it's really scary. We help people on from all different playing fields, all walks of life.
Well, and one of the things that really resonated with me when you were talking one time was talking about the actual business owners who struggle, or the people that even just work a 9 to 5, and a lot of the reasons that they don't get help. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's in Cache County, we teamed up with USU Extensions, and they did a little survey on a lot of people in our community, and we're trying to find barriers for receiving help. And a huge one was religious community retaliation, and the next one was employer retaliation. Those were the top two. So I've been battling that, trying to get into these employers, trying to get in and talk and help bishops understand that, they may not need they may need more help than what's being offered. Granted, the bishops are fantastic. They help in so many ways. And same with employers. It's really hard from an employer standpoint to say, okay, you're drunk at work. What do I do with you? Kind of stuff. And I just want to be that guy that offers the help before it's too late, before someone's coffin's closed, or they've lost their home and their wife, or worse, bad things happen out there on the streets. And I don't want to see people arrested. I want to beat the police to your door. I'll talk to anybody. I'll talk to everybody. And I think the biggest thing is that retaliation, fear. It's fear driven. You're scared to show up. But I'm telling you, last year we did a survey. We do surveys every year on our clientele and demographics and things like that. We track a lot of that. And last year, 50% of our clientele were employed. We helped them maintain their employment. And so that's a huge win. That's 50% of our clients. We're employed. Nope.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's I really pride ourselves. Our whole staff is really happy and proud of that because we can, the big picture of, oh, I got to go to this rehab, I got to check out from life, I suck, all this. No, you're winning. Like, let us help you. We can retain all that. You can succeed.
And you don't have to live in secrecy because sometimes, I even talk about this on a money aspect of, I can only help people if they're going to tell me how much money they make or where their struggles are in their marriage or things like that. Like you have to be able to be vulnerable. And sometimes it's all out of fear of finding that person that's unbiased, like that person that, maybe you can't talk to your spouse, or maybe you're struggling with a spouse that is an addict and you don't know how to bring that up, or a family member. And it's like having that you have a hotline, right?
Yeah.
That like an anonymous hotline. I think that's the coolest. Do you have it memorized?
I don't have the number memorized.
We'll post it below because I was like that it's a new thing you started, right? And
Yeah.
and I'm like it's really cool because I think people need I'm like how do I do that in my business? Like create this anonymous way that people can like talk about their fears as business owners, talk about their fears around things that are happening without having that shame because sometimes when we are employed or we own a business, we get that what do we call it? Like that ego up where we have to put it down. And I don't know if we lost you, but we can't see you. Are you still
Uh-oh.
there? Okay. Oh, you're
I
good.
am.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't lose you, but your video is off. Uh,
Uh-oh.
let me see if I can ask you to start video. Oh, there we go.
There I am.
So I actually love the hotline idea and I love that aspect. But moving forward just a little bit more into your journey. So talking about, which by the way, I kind of want to always keep throwing in this punch, like please reach out to Jay if you are struggling, reach out to Jay if you don't know if you're struggling, if reach out to Jay if you know somebody's struggling and you don't know how to handle that, because I feel like we all know people with addictions. We all know people that are struggling in different aspects of life. And I think catching it beforehand is obviously the hard part, but sometimes it's the most important part, right?
Yeah, it definitely could save a life. Even like you said, even if you may think, I know a lot of high risk level points and things like that. If you're drinking more than 3 drinks a day, 3 times a week, then you're considered high risk, and it just gets worse from there. I'm willing to talk to anybody. I think that reaching out and not being scared, taking that step of faith, and I promise not to tell your neighbors and your boss and your bishops and or anyone. We're extremely private, and I understand that privacy can help somebody to a better life.
Mhm. And especially, I believe almost, and I don't know my own statistic, I believe just even being a business owner or a high stress job is probably, people drink to just let loose and cope and be because they don't want to be addicted to pills, maybe, but they can drink or do those aspects. And so I love what you do and I love everything about that. Moving into the conversation of like some of the successes as far as what would be your biggest almost top 3, and I know you have time to think about it, but top 3 tips for people that are struggling in any aspect of their life to really help them get those dreams and aspirations that they have. um just knowing, I like interviewing people that have kind of hit rock bottom and made it to the top, even though we never feel like we make it to the top, right? But I would say you've made it to the top. And really, what are those top 3 things you feel like are most important that you would share with people that have gotten you to where you are?
I yeah, that's really that can get really deep. So number one, believe in yourself, right? Believing in yourself and self-worth. You're good enough, you're smart enough. A lot of those feelings try and drag you down and hold you down. I still feel them today sometimes, like I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, screw it, I'm just gonna give up. But ultimately, you go to bed at night and you get to think about those things, but believe in yourself no matter what, no matter what it is. Hey, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna walk around the block today. I'm gonna do some exercise and I can do it. I can, and I get to would be number 2. I get to show up. I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work. I get to show up today for myself, which allows me to be there for others and carve that path and be there. Another huge one was outside support and not being judged. So don't judge others. Don't judge people on where they're at or what they may be going through, because you never know what someone's going through. We all have our struggles, and a lot of people struggle in silence. Judgment was the biggest thing that kept me down. But when I was able to remove that, kind of not really worry about what so much of what others were thinking and kind of just be myself, it took a lot of work and it took a lot of time, and it still started dragging me down at times. But to remove that, like not feel so judged, but also to not judge as well.
And a lot of times, I think that judgment is stories in our own head. It's our own judgments of ourselves that we think other people are placing on us. I don't know how many times I'll have people be like, I work a lot in social media in the world, and they'd be like, I put this offer out there and nobody wants it. And I'm like, they're not commenting, they're not engaging, they're not biting, they're not this. And I'm like, what if they just didn't see it? Because they have 5,000 other friends posting, what if it's something completely different? And so I've learned that along the journey too. And even just my own stories of like when I healed my son and I took him out of the medical community, and that was different. And people were shaming me and like, you're neglecting your child. But I followed me and I trusted me. And as I grew, those people actually ended up coming on later at night or later and cheering you on. They end up being your biggest critics, end up being your biggest supporters at the end game. And I bet you've seen that too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Again, I want to point that out. A lot of that judgment is in your head. Don't believe it. Let it go, and try not to worry about that. That's a huge anchor that you can just let go.
I love that. So, one of my last questions for you, I'm sure I'll come up with more, but one of my last questions for you is I obviously attract a lot of women. I attract a lot of that feminine energy, or I attract a lot of sensitive men, like just good hearted men that I would say are in that like yin energy of things. When it comes to kind of your mindset tools and manifestation, and how do you get per se, if I was a woman or even a man, I guess, how would you get your spouse on board with the mindset that you have today?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question, Nicole. So I think just believing in them as well, right? Empowering them, like just starting to, and there's a level of, it almost gets like competition kind of feeling. You don't want that. I don't want that. I think that's kind of almost bad for a relationship. But just believing in them and just pushing, just opening the door. Open doors people walk through. Showing them the light on the other side and being happy, and just showing up, and again, not judging them. Everyone's story is different. Everyone has a different plan or a different vision for what things look like or life looks like or the perfect dream house or whatever it looks like. But believe in them. Let them take their own risks, take their own chances. Let them succeed, let them fail, let them. I think that's hard. And there's a lot of you see, a lot of domestic violence. I want to point that out. There's a domestic violence is on the rise. It's crazy. There's one statistic that came out that really scared me in Cache County is strangulations on the rise. And it's not a gender specific thing. It's just they just said strangulation. And I, that's why we've been working on domestic violence programs. So it's like, wow, like again, another manifestation thing, right? It's just like, I know when I was a child, I saw a lot of violence and domestic violence in my home, and something like that could have helped me. But I just want to point out, believing in each other and teamwork. You can let people fail and you can let them do their own thing, but also coming together at the end of the day and just letting today be today and start over tomorrow. New beginnings happen every day. That sun rises every day. It's a new beginnings. Put your failures behind and just keep pushing.
And I love that. And I always teach people you have to be understanding that first impressions are everything. Like my husband, I've been with him since middle school. He remembers me as that person all through high school and all through all my mistakes and my failures. And so I have to also have grace that like he does have doubts at times. There's times when I'm like, oh, there's another unfinished project. Like I do have those judgments I have to let go of, but I love that you said everybody's on their own journey. Like he's perfectly fine if like we just live a perfectly stable house. Like we just like, we don't have to be skyrocketed clear up here. And I'm like, keep going, keep going, keep going. And we respect each other for where we're at, but we have common grounds of our rules, our boundaries, and the respect that we have towards each other in communication too. And so I love that you said that. what are some of the manifestation techniques that you use? Because I know manifestation is huge in your life, opportunities. I always tell people if you just show up, the opportunity falls. And I think some people think I'm crazy for that. But when you start talking to a more successful person, they do the crazy tools like me too.
Oh yeah, manifestation. Some of the things I do is I believe, right? I just know that things can happen. I know that there's a plan. I know that things are going to fall into place, and I just trust that. I put things out. I took one of Nicole's vision board class, and that was like it blows my mind. Some of the things that come up, and you can manifest these things. And when it happens, be ready. You're manifesting something, you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready to do your part, because then it's not just going to be. I mean, it ain't a free ride. When your part comes up and it's your turn to step up to the plate, when opportunities arise, you got to be ready to answer. It's scary. Talk about scary. When we first took over Clear Recovery, when I first purchased it, we were doing fine. We had zero debt, zero. We were, for the first time in my entire life, I felt comfortable. And then this opportunity came and it just ripped me out of my comfort zone so far that I'm like crawling back right now. And so be ready to be uncomfortable. Be ready to take those leaps of faith and just jump into it. I've got another leap of faith knocking on my door, and it's almost like when Clear Recovery was pounding on my door. That same kind of thing's happening to me right now, and it's almost a little bit of fear and excitement, and everything, just all these emotions. But you just got to be ready. That's the biggest thing. You want something, you have the power to make it happen. Whether you got to go into debt for thousands and thousands of dollars, if that's the case, just know that that's the plan. Go for it. Don't be scared to fail, because without failure, we never have success, right? There's
Right.
not one without the other.
And don't be afraid of the money is what I always preach, because same with us, we paid off hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt. Everything was fine. What do you know? That comes knocking, you got to go buy some semis. You know what I mean? Now we're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt again from that thing, but not only does it bring in more income, but look at how many people you're serving now, how many marriages you're saving, lives you're saving, people that do struggle with anger issues, like on the opposite end of like, yeah, there's people being strangled, but there's people strangling people. And I always feel bad for those people. It's like, what
Yeah.
are they going through? They're suffering in silence. Like, you know what I mean? And so really that's what I love, is that's priceless. That could be millions and millions of dollars well spent, and knowing that you lay your head down at night knowing that you made a difference. And that's what I hope everybody gains from this conversation is, you might not know where you're headed, it might look scary, but if you could change something, what would you change? What action steps or risks do you got to take to make that happen? And I love that you said support. Who's in your corner? Because me and Jay are in your corner. I know
Sure.
you could reach out to Jay anytime. You could reach out to me anytime. And I just hope that you guys really, really, where can they follow, or how can they serve even what you're doing now? I know are you still doing your your Secret Santa stuff? Like how can we help you?
Yeah, so right now we're doing every year we do a Secret Santa gift shop. It's on the 19th this year, and there's two sides of it. You can either donate if you can afford it and feel like it's something you want to do. You could come and volunteer, or you could be a recipient of that. You could come get kids or toys for your children. It happens on the 19th. We're accepting donations right up until the second the donations start. So start going the other way. So up until the 19th, you can donate. On the 19th, you could volunteer or receive gifts for your children. This year, we're giving two gifts per child per household, no questions asked. There's a lot of agencies that the checks and balances, which kind of gets hard. Kind of gets you get your people who are trying to go in line twice and stuff, but it's okay. We're not placing judgment on it. We're doing it for them. If that's their story and that's their path, here's your next two gifts. We're just trying to just do it with a smile and do it for our community. So yeah, you could reach out to me or Nicole, and I could get you more details on that. If you'd love to be involved, we'd love to have you. And if you need gifts, don't be ashamed to come get some gifts. That's why we're doing it.
I love that. And can you see the passion in his soul? Like he's just all about service. And I'm telling you, you can serve your way to success. Make it about the other people and you will get the rewards along the way too. And I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you do. Is there any last moment things that you want to say?
Like I really want to point out a couple things. You gotta do your part. Do your part, and if you want to succeed, you'll succeed. Whether it's success is having your own home or just your own car or even a car. That's your success. That's your story. Do your part. Make it happen. Every day is a new day, and be ready. Be ready for action because things happen before you know it. You start manifesting and believing, and you manifest, believe, you create, and all of a sudden it's there. Just be ready and don't be scared to take that leap of faith. You might trip, you might fall, but get back up, do it again. That's life.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jay. And
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hurry and look at my phone and see if anyone is needing anything while we're still on, but let's see. There's some people that need, oops, oh no, muting. Oh no, okay, I'm not gonna do that, but I did see one comment that someone needs to talk to you. So I will have Jay, if it's okay, if you'll just kind of check in with the thread for maybe the next like 24 hours as you come check in once a day to see if anyone's really needing anything. I'll also connect people as they need to be connected. And maybe will you come back and post that hotline in
Yeah.
the thread as well too, and any information on how to follow you, and we will go from there. But thank you so much for doing what you do. The world definitely needs what you have. And I just hope if anybody is struggling, knows someone struggling, or honestly, if you just need someone to talk to, please reach out to either of us because we were here for you. I appreciate you, Jay, and it was so nice talking to you.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much for having me, Nicole.